God has seen it fit to bless this ministry. What I had envisioned from the beginning has come to pass, so that if at any moment God calls me home, the team is there. And to sit in a building like this and realize that these are bricks and mortar, but inside is the real building. The people that God has brought here who are working round the clock, working to make this ministry have an impact upon the lives of people. They are wonderful speakers, wonderful writers. Some of them have yet to come into their own. Their best days are ahead.
That passion to pour into the next generation and see a whole cohort of apologists unleashed on the world, that has just been so exciting.
It's very important for us to have a younger team. So they know the world isn't welcoming to the gospel, yet they go out and do it anyway because they have that confidence and that energy that youth brings, but yet they're tempered with a realism about the way the world actually works. And also for the future of RZIM. It's very important for us that we maintain this level of seasoned speakers and then those who are young and keep that strata going.
The opportunities the team having around the world is incredible. You look at what's going on in the Middle East right now. 5-6 years ago, our Middle Eastern team was small, bordering on non-existent. Ravi Zacharias has been in and out of there a lot over the decades. But now to look and see there's a team doing this day in, day out is remarkable.
One of our team in Cairo who came to the OCCA a few years ago now, he became a fellow, and a couple of years later, the Arab Spring happens. He finds himself at the absolute heart of that movement in Tahrir Square, invited as someone who studied at Oxford to come and address the leaders of the Arab Spring who are all in their 20s and who've all embraced atheism because they're so disillusioned with Islam.
I have been working with RZIM now for almost 3 years. Things started shifting and changing in 2011 specifically, since the Arab Spring. People started asking questions they'd never been asking before. Existential crisis, identity crisis, really looking for a foundation for how they're living and what they believe and who they are. All of a sudden I find myself in a place where God is using me specifically in these areas. Doors are opening and there are great opportunities.
Someone else said, this young man is a leader, he's theologically able, and even though he is so young, we want to invite him into the national church leadership conversation. God prepared the way for that to happen.
All over the world today, there are people who are influential people who shape the ideas of a culture, who are kind of in an unreachable class of their own. We look at them and we think, oh, they can't really be reached. They don't appear to need the gospel. We have the privilege of believing God that He is able to reach them, and being in the context where they're at, engaging with their questions, engaging with the obstacles that exist for them to hear the gospel. I think the elite of our day fall into this category where we feel, oh, maybe they can't be reached. They're too removed from us, or they're isolated from us in some ways. I love the privilege of getting to speak to them and saying, yeah, the gospel is also for you. It does also address your needs.
Washington, D.C. is a unique city to work in because the implications for the answers that are given to people become very far-reaching. These are people who take their beliefs with them to work every single day, and those beliefs actually shape and form the work that they do in the United States government, in foreign policy. And so their questions are critical. Washington, D.C. is an incredible city for apologetics, for the kinds of work that RZIM is involved in, because people are constantly asking the hard questions. They're constantly looking for sources of knowledge and avenues to answer those things. All of a sudden, it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, Republican, Libertarian. There's this uniting factor to the questions of Christianity in this culture.
The Asia Pacific's not a small region. There's 4.5 billion people across the region, and about 1 billion of them are walking with the Lord. So until the other 3.5 billion are walking with Him as well, we have work to do. It's so important that we are there to get alongside other leaders and workers and servants in the kingdom to help support using the unique skill set that we bring. The number of people who are educated are growing at a greater rate in those countries and in that region than in any other region in human history, ever. These people are growing up with questions about life, about meaning, about destiny, about morality, about faith, about love. The Lord is working and He's moving in the Asia Pacific already, and He will continue to move. It's just up to us to pray into that and find out where He wants us to help. I'm just really blessed to play a very small part of that, and I think RZIM is really incredibly well placed strategically and substantially to play its role as well.
I'm using apologetics. I try to speak to the intellect. I try to find good words. But the heart of the heart is that people come to know the embrace of God, come to know the God who's standing with arms wide open and waits for them. Germany is interesting in a spiritual sense. The country used to be divided. In the East, atheism or agnosticism is a very big thing. It's the most unchurched region in the whole of Europe. There's just so many people who've never met any Christians, who've never had a Bible in their hand, who have not heard the name of Jesus.
When you hear about the opportunities that they have and they say, would you please pray for me, I've been invited to this, I'm going to do this today. You often look at that and you think, that's incredible that you're getting to go there. You have the ability to speak there. You're able to go places where other people can't go and bring a hope that is going to change everything. So it's just amazing to see a team doing that so well and in so many parts of the world.
We began by sending the ministry all we could afford, which was like $10 a month. And after a year or two, we get a call from somebody at the ministry saying, thank you, and you're so faithful. I nearly fainted and fell out of my chair. And that just touched me at a deep level. I am passionate about RZIM. I remember when the ministry was young, and it was just Ravi. He and the team have done an amazing job of recruiting these smart, young theologians who are just incredible. That is duplicating yourself in a way that you can have 40 times the impact. And that is just a gift from God, because now they can be spread in different places on one night. I'm not capable of doing the intellectual arguments, but you know what? I can do well in business, which means I can support the people who can, but I can certainly speak love and kindness, encouragement into the hearts of the young ones. But I still love the old ones.
The way in which we are able to communicate the truth of Christianity to places such as at MIT, to show them that so often the Christianity that you are refusing, that you've turned away from, or that you have denied is not the real truth. People are no longer okay with somebody saying, here's a book, live your life after it. We're in an era where people question everything, and they have so many questions that they're unpacking and they're trying to figure out and understand. To be able to engage with them and to help them to understand that actually asking questions and understanding God in an intellectual way is an expression of love.
Ravi Zacharias has modeled a very holistic approach to ministry. He has always said, behind every question is a questioner. Whenever he speaks to audiences, he is speaking to people. Seeing the increasing involvement on university campuses has been really exciting. Especially some of the universities that we've gone to, so the University of California, Berkeley, for instance. We were making a lot of arguments that really flew in the face of a lot of the things people there believed, and yet because of the respectful and winsome tone that we modeled, as well as our firmness in our convictions, we got a fair hearing. We're not approaching people as though they're abstract arguments, we're actually talking to human beings.
The wonderful part of RZIM is not just the vision, but it's the tone in which that vision is carried forward. And I think that opens things up in a way that people are really willing to engage with us. And that has come from something that's been unique to Ravi. If you look at apologetics as a field, Ravi really stands out in the tone in which he presents truth. And that's really been just embedded in the rest of the team in the way that we do it. And so there's a wonderful energy that comes from recognizing that what it is that Ravi has begun to do, there are many of us that can ride along behind in the wave of what he started and push that using our own unique gifts and capabilities into different areas and shine light in different corners of the world and really multiply the impact.
There's a huge unity in the team and a huge diversity. And I think that's part of the strength of who we are. And we're hoping to send, if you like, a ripple through this world.
Any one time we have 15 or 16 OCA fellows on the fellows program who are in training to become speakers and apologists. That cycles through, and once you've had that over a period of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, you're talking about the scale of team that we have, which is over 70 speakers now around the world, proclaiming the gospel.
Having a team like this is what enables us to cover many, many tracks in many, many countries over many years that have gone by, and hopefully the best years to come. My prayer is that our greatest years will be ahead. I don't say that as a cliche, but I say it in a way that I hope even we have not yet envisioned what all God is actually going to do through some dramatic conversion somewhere in the world, people who can change history. And I think that's going to happen.